Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or it's 2 a.m. Go to bed alright. This is Eagle Eyes on Tech. And I am Eagle Falcon. So, somehow, I'm not sure how Samsung did it, but they managed to, at the very last minute, shoot themselves in the foot. Again. After not letting this problem rest. So, if you don't know, and I don't know how by now you don't know, we've talked about it a lot here. The entire world has talked a lot about it. But let's talk about it again. The Note 7 was the massive flagship phone that Samsung released now 2-3 months ago now. I don't know. It feels like they've launched it 17 years ago and that it's just been this slow crawling nightmare since possibly the day I was born. But I know that can't be the case. Where they launched this phone and they unfortunately let it launch with a terrible, catastrophic design flaw that causes the battery to generate too much heat, which then causes the lithium polymer battery to expand, combust, and possibly explode. And then jokes got written about it forever. It got banned on flights. It then got recalled. It then got re-recalled, and blah, blah, blah. So, the phone was officially killed now at least a month ago. And you'd think that's the end of it, right? Wrong. Because there's quite a handful of people out there in the world that, for some unknown reason, despite the fact that this is the tech story that nobody will ever shut up about, that do not realize that their phone could combust in their pocket. So what's Samsung's decision to this? Well, Samsung had the brilliant idea of sending out a software update that would prevent the phone from charging. And they were talking about doing this a month ago. And at the time, nobody thought about it too much. I kinda thought about it, but I thought for a bit, I'm overthinking it. Well, now everyone else is getting to the point that I was thinking about before I thought, no, I'm overthinking this. The point I brought out a while back was that there could be that if you could launch out software to brick a phone, could that possibly be exploited and used for malicious purposes? Now everyone's asking the same thing. To the point now where certain carriers are now rebelling against the Samsung update to brick the Note 7. In this case being Verizon. Verizon is not letting the kill switch go out, the software update that prevents the Note 7 from charging at all, to launch to its Note 7s. So now, we're now at this point where Samsung is trying very hard to make amends for their exploding phone. And just after it's finally starting to pass through the cautious consumer's mind, it's now drawn right back in the forefront because of this kill switch. Now, you could debate forever whether this is ethical or not. I mean, I could go either way on this. I mean, on one hand, you know, you as a company have a responsibility to get these death traps out of the public that you've accidentally unleashed upon the earth. I shouldn't say accidentally, unknowingly unleashed upon the earth, I think's a better way to phrase that. But on the other hand, to create such an update kind of opens the door for a lot of other problems. And I can go back and forth on that forever. Such as going back, but it's a one-time thing, a one-time update, and it's designed for this specific phone. To which I go, yeah, but what if a hacker gets a hold of it, changes a few lines of code, and now they got this, it'll work on any Android device that runs on this particular subset of the operating system. You could go back and forth forever. And in the end, the only thing I can do is say, look, if you do somehow still have a Note 7, for the love of God, take it in. Don't charge it. Lord knows the software update's going to come out if you're not on Verizon and prevent you from charging it in the first place. But don't charge it, take it back, and go get anything else. There's going to be a Note 8 down the road anyway. Who knows? Maybe they'll launch a Note 8 soon. That's just going to be the Note 7, but, you know, not built with C4. And not be a grenade in your pocket. So, there you have it. We've gotten it out of the way. So, let me repeat myself again. If you have a Note 7, send it back to the store. Let's talk about easily the most interesting news of the week. Now, you might be thinking that I am unleashing the biggest bit too early. Oh, no. I have far more interesting news later on. But let's talk about Amazon Go. Amazon Go is a concept grocery store that is actually coming out early next year that basically is a grocery store with no checkout. Just on that alone, it sounds like a far-fetched wave of the future. But here's what I want to know. How does this work? let's actually go through the intro video, because somehow, I don't know how Amazon did it, but Amazon's instructional video explaining how this works leaves you with more questions. Let's go through it step by step, shall we?
4 years ago, we started to wonder.
Hold up, let me get this louder here. There we go.
What would shopping look like if you could walk into a store, grab what you want, and just go?
It would look like shoplifting. I mean, I hate to be that guy to just bring it up right off the bat, but the moment this store opens, everyone's going to feel super awkward about it because it's going to feel exactly like shoplifting. It continues.
What if we could weave the most advanced machine learning, computer vision, and AI into the very fabric of a store so you never have to wait in line?
Hold up here. Did he just use all of the techno buzzwords? Because I'm pretty sure Amazon in this video just used all of the tech buzzwords. Let's continue.
No lines, no checkouts, no registers. Welcome to Amazon Go.
Now, I'm not going to lie, when I first heard that it was called Amazon Go, I thought this was going to be an Amazon branded sort of AR virtual reality sort of thing. That's just what Pokemon Go has done to me now. The word Go now has just lost all meaning.
Use the Amazon Go app to enter. Then put away your phone and start shopping. It's really that simple. Take whatever you like. Anything you pick up is automatically added to your virtual cart. If you change your mind about that cupcake, just put it back. Our technology will update your virtual cart automatically.
Okay, so right off the bat, to me this sounds like the phone is using some form of NFC to pick up chips that are within each item to add them to your cart. The thing is, if there's anything I've learned, is that NFC, the distance has to be very close. Like, about this far, like an inch or two. So right off the bat, I'm thinking it can't be NFC and it's working on any phone. But here's the part that slays me when they say how it works. It continues.
So, how does it work? We used computer vision, deep learning algorithms, and sensor fusion, much like you'd find in self-driving cars. We call it...
Did you catch that? Literally did not say anything. That was just completely useless techno jargon. Now, the only theory that I can come up with, because they're saying it uses the same technology self-driving cars does, so which means the only way this could theoretically work, because they're sure as heck not going to tell you, is that this thing must be using cameras everywhere to track your movements and track you precisely anytime you take anything off the shelves. The only problem I have with that is, what happens when it gets it wrong? Because in case you guys forgot, we're not there yet when it comes to self-driving cars. And that's just a matter of not even identifying what the object is, just going, that's an object. Let's not hit that. Now, there might be more secrets to it as far as using chips and whatnot that are inside the thing. But right off the bat, just realizing that the magic is no longer in the phone it has to be in LiDARs, cameras, and other sensors without the entire store, that's going to leave the biggest, creepiest Big Brother vibe, isn't it? Let's continue.
Workout technology. Once you've got everything you want, you can just go. When you leave, our Just Walk Out technology adds up your virtual cart and charges your Amazon account. Your receipt is sent straight to the app, and you can keep going. Amazon Go. No lines, no checkout. No, seriously.
Alright, so right off the bat, if you have any hopes of trying to see this thing for yourself, the only place you're going to see it is at 2131 7th Avenue in Seattle, Washington. So, for those of us everywhere else, wah wah. Now, if there's anything you've learned about me, I'm extremely skeptical. If you didn't know about that, you've easily just learned that as I was going through and commenting on this video piece by piece. And I gotta say, I have doubts that this is gonna work anywhere close to as well as advertised. And the unfortunate thing is that if they want to avoid a lawsuit, it has to work perfectly. There is even less wiggle room for error in this than there is in the self-driving car. So as more and more details leak out about how they're accomplishing this, I'm very curious to see how it's done, because as I said, the video tells nothing. You can assume, you can guess. You can even pretend you understand, like I just did. But in the end, I have no idea. I can say nothing for sure. But it does bring up a few other questions. Like, for starters, if this takes off, if this sort of technology then spreads worldwide, that a ton of stores like this with no checkouts start opening up, what does that mean for jobs? Poof. Gone. You'll still need You'll still need shelvers. That's about it. So there's a lot of, well, like right now, not much is known about what Amazon Go will do. But I guarantee you, if you look around Google and through the news, you're going to find hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of news organizations pretending they can foresee the future with Amazon Go. But in reality, nobody knows. Whether it means a lot of people are going to such extremes saying it's the end of entry-level jobs. Others are saying this will never work and it's going to bankrupt Amazon. Everyone's going far out there. The reality is nobody knows. Even I don't know. I can theory craft forever. I can theory craft for hours about what Amazon Go means. All I can tell you is that I am extremely curious as to how all this will work and how flawed it is. Because I'm willing to bet it's going to work nowhere close to as well as they're saying it's going to. Alright, well that's enough of stuff that's going to happen over in Seattle. Let's talk about something that's going to happen a little closer to my home. Michigan. Michigan, they have now just passed a law that will allow self-driving cars on all roads, including cars with no steering wheels. Now, I haven't read the details of the law. I just find it interesting that Michigan rushed ahead to be the first on this, and we're not even close to having self-driving cars that can safely manage city streets. I mean, we'd like to pretend, but the closest we've gotten is self-driving cars and trucks on the highway, where there's a lot less dangerous potential. That's it. So, there you go. That happened. So, let's talk about something else, though, now that we've gotten that little quick bite out of the way. And that's, unfortunately, the sad little death of one of the first smartwatch companies. I'm not saying the first, but it is undoubtedly one of the first. Pebble has now been bought up by Fitbit. And Fitbit is not being pretty about it. So what's happening with this is that Pebble has already went and refunded everyone who has not been fulfilled yet on their Kickstarters. And in addition, it is painfully obvious that Pebble has no intention on continuing support for future smartwatches. Fitbit has bought up the software rights, and they have bought up the technology, and roughly 60% of the Pebble staff is going to be out of a job. So, a moment of silence for the little e-ink Pebble. Alright, well, that being said, this hopefully does mean that the Fitbits, the fitness trackers that are out there now, are gonna become more Pebble-like. That would be a very welcome change, because as much as Fitbit is trying to become what Pebble was with their new I forgot what it was called. I think it was like the Bit Fire or something. I can't remember. What is the watch? Does anyone in the chat know? I don't think anyone knows. Ah, well. In any case, as I said, hopefully this does mean that the future Fitbit smartwatches will become more Pebble-like, and that would actually be a welcome change, because honestly, Pebble had a good thing going for them. And their software infrastructure worked really well. I mean, all things considered. It worked on both sides. You could upload apps, and even through the Apple system, it would work. It was a nice middle ground. It just unfortunately suffered from design flaws. In any case, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got to talk about Pokemon Go and the Samsung S8. I'll be right back. Hey everyone, Eagle Falcon here. I just wanted to talk for a minute about everything that's actually happened since we started. Now, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I did miss Eagle Eyes on Tech's anniversary. I know. I feel bad too. But it's not only the fact that I missed the anniversary on October 20th, which I'm now saying now so I don't forget for next time, but it's also I'm actually closing in on my other hobbies and anniversary. If you don't know, I stream on Twitch, and if you actually do enjoy my content here on Eagle Eyes on Tech, you really should check me out on twitch.tv/eagle_falcon, where every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday we go through and just play games, have fun, play along with some Jackbox games on some days, go through campaigns, and just kind of laugh along, crack jokes, and it's just a great, grand old time. So be sure to check me out there, and we will be getting back to some actual serious tech news very, very soon. Like right now.
How did I end up here?
Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. I would like to give a special shout out to Unjust Banana, who had to ask who's the guest host. Yeah, totally. Because anyone would want a guest host for me. Pro tip, they don't. Alright, anyway. Let's move on to what I feared. So before we could even get to the end of the month to do the prediction show, rumors are already swirling about the S8 copying the iPhone. And the unfortunate thing is that it's copying it in the worst area. So rumors are already swirling about... Actually, if you don't know, first there's rumors about the iPhone 8, the one that's supposedly coming out next year, dropping its home button. Allegedly. And supposedly just going edge-to-edge glass, or edge-to-edge screen, I'm sorry. With curved edges, copying the Samsung Edge phones. So, for whatever reason, there's now rumors coming out about the Samsung S8 wanting to copy the two worst aspects that are rumored to be on the iPhone. One being the removal of the home button. That's supposedly gone in the S8. The other rumor being the loss of the headphone jack. All right, look. I don't mind losing the headphone jack. I've been using Bluetooth headphones for a very long time now. Clearly, though, if there's anything the iPhone 7 launch has taught us, is that I am so in the minority. I didn't miss the headphone jack, though I did criticize Apple hard after finding out the space that was taken out for the headphone jack was wasted on a bigger pressure sensing buffer. A completely unnecessary change. That was a big disappointment for me. But clearly the customers are not ready to lose the headphone jack. Samsung, is this really what you want to do? Follow up exploding phone with the same sort of bleep storm that hit the iPhone after they took out the headphone jack? I mean, we're talking about Samsung eliminating the headphone jack. After one of the biggest points they made in the Note 7, before it became a joke, an exploding joke, was that it had the headphone jack. Making fun of Apple for getting rid of it before the phone even came out. But here you are, Samsung. Just get rid of it. Why not? People aren't going to miss that, and people definitely aren't going to miss the home button. You know, on an operating system that's already getting more and more difficult to use by the day. Could you think of a stupider thing for Samsung to do right now? You could have copied anything else. Copy the camera system. Just don't copy this. Let's move on. But let's just move on before this annoys me. So, there's a huge slew of Pokemon Go news. First off, if you haven't updated your Pokemon Go app, I would recommend updating it because there has been quite a few quality of life updates. And I can't remember them all, and the patch notes are gone. It's just minor things like, little thing. I think like one of them was like the number of steps it takes for your partnered Pokemon to get the next candy shows up, and there's a bunch of other. Oh, you can also bulk grind Pokemon into candy. I mean, deposit them. But now, kind of seemingly out of nowhere, a lot of companies are now partnering with Pokemon Go. First up is Starbucks. Starbucks is now letting a large number of their stores, I think all of them, but no, it can't be all of them. They're saying approximately 7,800 Starbucks stores in the US will be turned into Pokestops or gyms. In addition, Starbucks is offering a Pokemon Go Frappuccino that makes no sense because the drink is purple. I mean, come on. I mean, I got no more comments other than when I look at this thing, it is literally green straw, whipped cream, pinkish purple drink. I don't like Frappuccino, and I don't see how this is Pokemon Go related other than the fact that it has its name. Alright, so there's that. Not only is Starbucks getting in on this, but so is Sprint. And Sprint is also now officially the only carrier that's going to be partnered with Pokemon Go. Now, I don't know if this means anything down the road, say Sprint offering free data to Pokemon Go users on their network, or what it's going to mean. I will tell you at the very least that Sprint and Boost are going to become Pokestops and gyms. So that happened. Niantic is clearly making huge steps to try and get anywhere close to the amount of crazy hype they had when this thing first launched. Everyone got in on it. Unfortunately, probably one of the worst things they did was doing a mass ban. Before even addressing their bugs, that's the first thing they did, was ban people they suspected of cheating. And if those people weren't, that's it. They're hosed. That's what got me out. Shut down my account, and that was it. Haven't touched the game since. Well, I have, but not to any sort of serious degree. I will give credit to Niantic for trying. But probably the bigger news is actually what's coming out next week. Next week, Monday, December 12th, there's supposed to be a big Pokemon Go update, including the release of the Generation 2 Pokemon. So everything from the Johto region. Now, while I do welcome this, here's my problem. The game is not good. Still. The combat is bad. It's been bad. To my knowledge, that is still not being addressed. Now, I could be wrong, because this article is saying that there are battle and trading features supposedly being introduced. I don't know what that means, but if there's anything I've learned from Niantic, the moment they leak out something, it's going to be worse than it sounds. But the other thing is that, what does a new player do when they get in? Nothing. Half the game is blocked to you as a new player. Any of the gym content is completely worthless to you. Half the game is endgame. And the first half of the game is really boring and tedious. It was cool for a while. It had a shine to it. But in the grand scheme of things, I'll just make the prediction right now. This big update sounds like it would change a lot, but it's not. This is going to barely move the numbers. I'll predict right now there might be about a 10% spike in usage, and then it'll go back down again. Unless the combat is made to be anything but a massive swipe and tap fest. Although here's the part I love on this one. There's also news on jailbreaking and rooted device crackdown. So Niantic's focus is still on cracking down on potential cheaters, not confirmed cheaters, just potential cheaters, rather than actually making the game playable or even fun to play. Or, you know, their focus also isn't even on what cities and governments are planning on doing. Because Milwaukee County, where I live, they've already drafted up a bill now sent to the county supervisor's desk, or not county supervisor, what is it? To Chris Abley's desk. I can't remember what his official title is. I'm terrible. I'm so sorry. To then officially ban Pokemon Go from public lands without a permit. To which, once again, I'd like to point out to these outfits, I'm just going to blanket say outfits, whether it be government or a business, that doesn't want a Pokestop on their areas. All you have to do is just go to their site and use the form. We know it works. I've actually seen it work. All the stops on a hospital I go to deliver stuff for work, all their stops were removed. Because it turns out the hospital didn't want kids wandering around by the ER entrance. Understandably so. It is amazing the lengths that Milwaukee County is going to on this, considering the fact they already have a law on the book for this, and they're writing up a second one. That'll show them. Let's talk about trusted contacts for a minute. This is a feature that is now launched on Android, and it's on other ones as well. This comes off as it's a feature to allow your location to be shared to your, quote, trusted contacts. And it's something that happens automatically, to a degree. I can't remember the exact timing now, but it's something like every 15 minutes you don't text, it sends your location. And it was just, the way it was laid out to me, it didn't sound efficient, like, at all. In fact, actually, there's already this sort of feature for emergency cases that's already built in to devices like modern smartwatches and even on Android phones. If you actually go into your settings and look this up. Like, for example, I'm not going to do it on camera here, obviously, because, not in danger. But if I went and keyed in a specific sequence on these buttons on the side of my watch here, it would send an SOS text through my phone to what's listed as my in case of emergency contacts, or ICE contacts, in addition with my exact GPS coordinates. Now, if your comment is, oh, well, that's just on the Samsung watch, that's also in Android itself, too. The Android one I actually don't like as much, because it does the same thing. But the Android one is just when you push your power button 3 times quickly. You can actually find that under your settings. I'm going to bring it up exactly so I can tell you exactly where. It's under settings, under personal, under privacy and safety. You will see in the 3rd line, it says send SOS message. And if you tap that, you'll see all of the settings there. You can have it attach pictures, attach an audio recording, etc., etc., etc. So the feature's already out there. And it's already in Google's operating system. I don't get what the purpose of this is, other than to do it automatically. But it comes off as something that could end up being used much more creepily than that. And then finally, let's go to this little gem of a story to close up shop today. Qualcomm and Microsoft to bring full Windows 10 to Snapdragon devices. I am extremely curious as to how well this is going to work. Just because ARM to x86, x86 to ARM, it's kind of awkward. So anyway, what is Snapdragon? Snapdragon is the ARM processor that runs in a lot of your phones, in a lot of your tablets. Snapdragon is basically like the Intel of the phone world. Chances are, if you have an Android phone, you have a Snapdragon processor in it. If you have a laptop, you have an Intel processor in it. Snapdragon is what's called an x86 processor. Laptop is what's called... Wait, did I mix that up? Laptop has what's called the Intel processor, what's called an x86 processor. The Snapdragon processor is what's called an ARM processor. They basically work on 2 different kinds of computing. Usually what works on one will not work on the other, and vice versa. So normally for that sort of thing, you need some sort of emulation to work. Now, Windows in the past tried to come to the ARM world. There was Windows 8 for the majority of laptops, and there was Windows RT for the ARM devices. So, what does this mean for full Windows 10 to come to Snapdragon devices? This means your phone, or say your cheap Android tablet, instead of running your clunky Android operating system, could instead be running Windows 10. Now, Windows 10 does have compatibility modes to work on tablets. It uses the old Windows 8 tile interface for tablets. It's just not used anywhere near as much as it was in Windows 8. So, it could work. The Snapdragon processors are getting a lot more powerful. It's hard to measure exactly how powerful, because the Android operating system on top of Snapdragons is such a colossal burden on the processor that it's extremely difficult to say what a Snapdragon could do or not. Normally these sort of ventures, I kind of look at them and go, oh, that's going to be a disaster. But I'm legitimately curious about this one. First off, to find out how close Snapdragon is and the other ARM processors to your average laptop processor. And if you actually can run a very robust operating system like Windows on ARM without ARM just absolutely crying. It could bring a lot of interesting things for the future. Take a tablet, take a Bluetooth keyboard, bam, instant laptop. But alas, time will tell. Time will tell. That's going to be it from me today for Eagle Eyes on Tech. Next week is going to be our last news broadcast of the year. The 24th, we are going to be off for the Christmas holiday. The 31st will be the prediction show. That being said, take care, everyone. Rest well. We'll see you next week.